Hey everyone, I'm Mylan and welcome to this channel. If you own a small business, if you're thinking about it, or if you're really interested in behind the scenes of what goes into building a business, this channel is for you. In today's video, we're going to be going into goal setting, which looks a lot different pre-coronavirus versus post-coronavirus. So in today's video, we're going to be goal setting in a post-coronavirus world, which gives you realistic expectations and also helps you plan for the worst case scenario. So we're going to power through that. But before I get into the video, first we have to give our small business shout out to our friends over at Farmhouse at Rogers Garden. If you live in the Costa Mesa or Orange County area, please go check them out. They have amazing takeout orders right now that you can get filet mignon or pistachio halibut and get curbside cocktails. That's actually one of my favorites. Chef Mead is the owner of this establishment. He's one of those guys that you just want to support because he's one of the first to always support you. When I go to this restaurant, he sits down at the table and he says hello. That's like how kind and involved he is. And he pays a lot of attention to his food, cares a lot about the environment and supporting local farmers. So now it's our time to stand up and support him. Check out Farmhouse. The food is delicious and you will not regret it. And stay tuned at the end of this video because I'm going to be sharing 3 different small business opportunities. One's going to be for the Los Angeles beauty professional. The second one is going to be for Hawaii restaurant workers. And the third one is going to be for all different types of small business, small to mid-sized businesses. It's a new loan program that's released by the Federal Reserve. I gotta get used to saying this, but if you love small businesses, if you support small business and like the content that I'm sharing, leave a like and also leave a comment down below because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And thank you very much. All right, now let's get into the video. So when it comes to goal setting, we tend to be overly optimistic and have these amazing, positive financial projections. And that's because it's in human nature to be either really overly optimistic or overly conservative. Even Amazon, who we thought was killing it in a post-COVID world, fell short. They reported first quarter earnings of $2.5 billion, down from $3.56 billion in the year ago period. So in a post-COVID world, generate a goal that will carry you through the worst case scenario. I mean, let me be real with you. My business is down 85%. And last year we had projections to do over $1 million. And post-COVID, that ain't going to happen. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be real with my investors and real with myself. I need to reassess my goals and create something that is more attainable while keeping my business afloat. So first, we're going to talk about how to plan your post-coronavirus goal. Then number 2, we're going to talk about strategies, how to reach that goal. And finally, we're going to talk about ways to keep yourself accountable to get to that goal. So I wanted to push this back a little bit so I can bring out my handy dandy whiteboard. And this whiteboard will help us to determine expenses. So that's the first step to determine your goal in a post-coronavirus world is to figure out, okay, what are my expenses? The first type of expenses you want to figure out are your fixed expenses. So these are expenses that are going to stay with you no matter how well or how badly you're doing. These are things like your rent, utilities, insurance, so on and so forth. Okay, and then you have your variable expenses. These are things like your operating costs, cost of goods, shipping, marketing budgets, payroll. Okay, so you're going to put an actual dollar sign on each of your fixed costs and then also variable costs. You're going to take a step back and you're going to take a look at each of these sections and ask yourself the question, all right, what are expenses that I can cut? During this time, what are things that I can reduce so that I can keep the lights on and especially take care of these fixed expenses? For Cropsticks, we're reducing our marketing campaign. We're actually cutting it, putting a pause on it right now. Actually, I forgot to include this, but things like our subscriptions, I just wrote that to cross it out. Don't need that Spotify account, don't need those gym memberships. And then over here we have payroll. So this is a tough decision to make for a lot of business owners when you need to decide, okay, do I need to cut my staff or reduce their pay? Do I need to definitely cut my salary to keep the lights on and make sure all of this gets paid. So, make that decision for yourself and your business. If you can go ahead and get that PPP or some type of federal government aid so that you can keep your payroll the same, go out and do that. And if not, do your calculations so that you can make sure you stay in business. Now, after you determine your post-coronavirus expenses, figure out a number that takes care, that gets you to your break-even point and then gives you some cushion as well. So for us, that number is $100,000. Okay, I'm putting it out into the universe. This is our goal, our post-coronavirus goal. We need to hit it, $100,000, so that I can pay for my fixed expenses and also our variable expenses. If you want to break this down, 60% of that will go right back into our cost of goods. So that's your COGS and your shipping and customs. And then 38% will go into my fixed costs. So this will pay for the rent, utilities, insurance, and then, of course, go into things like payroll, operating costs. Now, the last part right here is 2% into our Give Back program. So Cropsticks is a proud B Corporation, and B Corporations are socially, environmentally responsible, and we pledge to give 2% back to our community. Now, in a post-coronavirus world, while you're pivoting and making these business decisions for yourself, think about your mission statement and the values that are the foundation of your business. And for us, our mission is to leave behind a greener environment for future generations, and we're a proud B Corporation. So while this 2%, it would be great to invest back into a marketing company or invest back into the company, we want to stay true to our core values, even during this difficult time. So we're going to keep that 2% give back. Overall, that's how you get your goal. So now that you determined your goal, and for us it was $100,000, the next step is to think about strategies that will help you reach your goal. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, what is the state of the market right now? Is there a product market fit pre-coronavirus? Is there a same product market fit post-coronavirus? So for example, with Cropsticks, we have to think and ask ourselves, all right, do people still want sustainable straws? Do they still need sustainable and really cool chopsticks? So ask yourself, is there a real need for my product at this time? And after you ask yourself that and determine, okay, no, I don't think there is a product market fit right now, then you're going to have to pivot. Some examples of pivoting are fine dining restaurants now doing takeout, or clothing companies now pivoting to make clothing for healthcare workers. Or if you are putting your marketing budget into these pop-up events, stadium events, you're now moving that and allocating it over towards community relief efforts. So there's so many pivots happening right now. And now what you want to ask yourself are, what's the right pivot for my company? Does it align with my existing values? Do I have resources to make that pivot possible? Do I have enough funds to make that pivot possible? And after you determine what your pivot is going to be, create a strategy to help you reach that goal. So the first no-brainer point is to talk to your existing customers, check in with them. And I really want to advise at this time to not go in for a hard pitch. Don't go in and be like, hey, do you want some straws? Do you want some Cropsticks because they're the coolest thing on the market right now? Like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I know a lot of my customers are struggling to pay payroll right now, or they're trying to pay rent. So instead, offer them solutions or offer them resources that you come across. Be helpful, right? You don't want to go in there and be that a-hole that's just trying to collect checks from them. So go in there and talk to your existing customers, be empathetic, and offer resources. So for example, at the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing a new loan that's going to be offered by the Federal Reserve. Go out there and see if your customers would find this loan useful. Just by checking in, sometimes your customers might reach back and be like, hey, by the way, I've been meaning to connect with you. I actually need X, Y, and Z from you. Or, oh, I've been meaning to follow up on that payment. Or, oh, by the way, I've been meaning to place another order with you. And if that's not the case, that is okay, because at least your customer knows that you're thinking about them, and when it comes time to later, they'll think about you too. So the second thing is to update your sales pipeline. After you're talking to existing customers, update in a new section what their post-COVID needs are. So for example, one of our customers, they're switching all of their in-dining experiences to takeout. And because sanitation is something really important, they no longer want to use reusable chopsticks. They want to switch over to our one-time use Cropsticks. And so I make a note of that in the new section that they want to switch out their reusable products. And that is something to include in your sales pipeline now, is what's the post-COVID needs. Another strategy I want to point out is to attend webinars. Attend webinars in your field put on by the Chamber of Commerce or the city, nonprofit organizations, SBAs, because a lot of times they highlight corporations that want to buy from small businesses, especially if you are a minority-owned business or you're a woman-owned business. There's specific corporations that are putting call-outs for PPE or your services, and they want to buy from you. They want to buy and support small businesses. Folks like, I saw a call-out from Kaiser Permanente, AT&T, they want to buy masks. So if you're one of those making masks, like, this is the perfect organization to knock on their door. And I'm going to list some of those contacts in my description below. So please take a look at that and feel free to share it with any other small business that, hey, maybe they want to sell to AT&T. Maybe they want to sell to Union Bank. Like, go for it. Okay, the next one is to sell to the right market. We talked about product market fit, and what you want to do now is to sell to that market. So like I mentioned earlier, a lot of our restaurant customers are out of business right now. They're shut down. So I have to ask myself, who else out there needs straws? Who else out there would buy our Cropsticks beyond our typical hotel, airlines, and restaurant customers? Well, hospitals, right? I'm going to pivot and I'm going to try and sell to hospitals because they're still in operations. They still need sanitary, clean things. And hey, they're good for the environment too, so that's a plus. And they would be supporting small businesses. So think about your market and make sure you, when you are selling, sell to the market that can afford to purchase your product. And the last thing is to let new and old customers know that you're still operating. So post-coronavirus, a lot of businesses had to shut their doors, but if you are still operating safely, go out and let all your customers know that you still have your lights on. Let the new ones know too. And for us, we're doing that through emails. We're letting them know through newsletters, on our social media, and even in this YouTube video, right? I'm like talking about Cropsticks. All y'all know that's watching right now that Cropsticks is still open for business. If you want to purchase something, you can do it right down in the link below. So let your customers know that you are still operating as well. So there you have it. These are the strategies to get to your goal. This is, for us, it's $100,000, and we're going to do all of these strategies for us to hit this. So now that we talked about strategies to reach your goal, we're going to now talk about ways to keep you accountable towards your goal. And the first thing you want to do is break up your goal into small increments. So for Cropsticks, our total goal is $100,000, but you notice I break it up into each quarter. So for yourself, write out the remaining quarters you have left, quarter 2, 3, and 4. And then for each month, write out your projections of how much you expect to make. And be sure to cross-reference your industries to see how the industry is doing so that you can have an attainable number. So for us in May, this is how much we are projecting. I think we're going to do about $8,000. This is based off of how much came in last month, in addition to what we are expecting to do with our current clients, and also the deals that we have in negotiation right now. Down the line, we're hoping more and more restaurants will start to open, and with the success of more restaurants opening, theme parks, one of our clients is a huge theme park, so we're hoping that those will reopen too, along with hotels and our airline customers. We're expecting Q3 to be more. This is nowhere close to our projections last year, but it's more than what we think we're going to do in Q2. And then Q4 is when the holidays kick in, and hopefully more people are eating out, more people feel safe, and we have a quarter 4 projection of $52,000. Realistic, I'm not putting our goal of what we had pre-coronavirus, but This is what we need to do to keep the lights on, stay in business, and keep it going. So $100,000, break your goals up into increments and it'll feel a lot more achievable that way. So keep track of your goals, whether that's going to be in QuickBooks or your Excel sheets. And I have this kind of quirky way of keeping track of my goals, but you know what? It makes me feel happy and satisfied when I do it. So I'm going to do it. And it is drawing out these cute shapes. And I like to have increments drawn on them, and each little increment represents a figure. So in this case, it's $1,000. And I drew a heart because it makes me happy. And when we get $1,000, I'm going to fill this in. It's very satisfactory to see this heart when it's all filled up, knowing that you hit your goal of whatever that is. There's also QuickBooks, but you know, do what works for you and also your team. So keep track of your goals. So today we talked about how to determine your goal, talked about strategies towards your goal, and finally talked about ways to keep you accountable toward your goal. Now the rest is all up to you. Good luck. Get out there, make those phone calls, do the strategies, get to your goals, and I am so cheering you on. You can do this. We got to do this. We got to survive, and good luck. And now the part that you're probably all waiting for, the resources. So there's 3 resources I want to share with you today, and the first one is from Cherie. So Cherie is a new and exciting platform in the beauty space that delivers everything you need to know about products from every corner of the beauty, skincare, and wellness universe. So shout out to Kwang for letting me know about this resource for the beauty professionals out there. So Cherie is providing up to $100,000 for the Los Angeles beauty community affected by COVID-19. So Cherie is committing a total of $100,000 to small beauty and service businesses and professionals in Los Angeles. 10 businesses will receive $5,000. I will leave the link to that resource down below. And if you know anybody that can be involved with this or this would help them out, feel free to share this resource. So the next resource is brought to you by the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. It's called the Kokua Restaurant Workers Fund, and this gives up to $250 of financial assistance to workers in the food industry. Now, this is a really cool program because you receive this $250 in the form of a Visa card, and it's restricted for meal purchases at local restaurants. So if you are in Hawaii, you can go ahead and apply down below. I'm going to leave the link down there. And it's really cool because it's like a full circle, right? So it's providing meals for our local restaurant communities, and then it gives back into the local restaurant economy. So shout out to Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. And the last resource I want to share with you today is the Main Street Lending Program. So a lot of you have heard about the PPP and the EIDL. Now, if you did not qualify for either of those, you might be able to qualify for the Main Street Lending Program. And this is provided to you by the Federal Reserve and not the SBA. So this is now eligible to companies with less than 15,000 people or an annual revenue of up to $5 billion. And previously, the PPP, you had to have 500 employees or less. So now this really opens up the market for not just small businesses, but a lot of mid-tiered businesses as well. And it is in the form of a loan, so I need to know that it is not a forgivable loan. I will leave a link right down below that will give you more information about the Main Street Lending Program. So those are the 3 business resources of today. Feel free to share them with whoever you want. I'm leaving all information about them below, as well as some of the other things that we talked about today. So if you know of any other resources and you want me to talk about this more on the channel, my goal for this channel is to really post something at least once a week, if not more. And every time I post, I'm going to be shouting out another small business and also sharing more business resources along with some type of how-to to keep our small businesses going. So if that sounds of interest to you, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.